ho, ho, ho! Good evening, one and all, and happy Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve, whatever you want to say. Some people say that, other people say other things. Now, as you know, my name is Santa Claus, and it is Christmas Eve 2024. Need the glasses, can't see anything without them. Anyway, I'd like to start off the show tonight. This is the Santa Chronicles. Tales from the Big Chair. 30 plus years I'm doing this, right? And there's a couple of things that go along with it that a lot of people don't know. These are the most important things playing Santa Claus, the gloves. Because they're very creepy. They're creepy. You look out there, you point there, you can direct the crowd. Hey, you sit down, you shut up, this, that, the other thing. Very, very good tool. Bare hands don't work. They don't work. They look like bouncer hands. Anyway, let's start off this Santa Chronicle show. Now, there are stories in here that are just, some are unbelievable, and other, there's a lot of good ones. But I mean, why tell the good ones? We all know what the good ones are. They're great, right? So anyway, start off with a little Santa humor. And this is an old joke that I stole from another Santa, the best Santa that I ever witnessed, too. By the way, a friend of mine, not a friend of mine, a friend of my Uncle Jimmy's, who was a little cuckoo, but he came out and he said, if Santa had $5 in this pocket and $5 in this pocket, what would he have? Someone else's pants! Oh, Santa cracks himself up. Anyway, let's get started. Now, I have advice for people in 2024. And they go, as the roses are red sort of thing. Okay? I'll give you the first one. And this one has to do with your workplace. Because everybody in their workplace is throwing the other guy under the bus. It's his fault. He didn't do it. This, that, the other thing. Let's not do that in 2024. But if you have to, this is what you should say to yourself. You better not pout. You better not fuss. When in doubt at work, throw the other guy under the bus. Works every time. Works every time. Okay? So let's start off. We'll go back to when I started doing this. Off of the dreaded Craigslist, by the way. That was my ex-wife talked me into doing that. Little ice water for Santa. That's what we call it. It's ice water. Not really. So, back in 2006, now I've been playing Santa for, I think since 96 I took over, right? And so my ex-wife, she came, Santa had an ex-wife, okay, everybody? Yes, I did. So don't we all? I mean, it's a start of marriage, start of house, same thing, right? So anyway, she was from South Africa, Cape Town, South Africa. Don't ask, the English accent, whatever. So she says, Thomas, why don't we put this on Craigslist? Now, she came here to be an actress. She was a good one, but I don't know where she is now. Who knows? You know, you're better off seeing her in the police blotter, probably. Anyway, so she says, why don't we put an ad up? I said, okay. But she had to get in on the act, right? She had to be the elf, which is fine. Okay, good. But you're not getting paid. I'm getting the money. That's the bottom line. Okay, my show, my hub, the whole bit. So, long story short, we put an ad up on Craigslist. This is the first show that I did. Now, it's like maybe 2-3 days before Christmas. I think 2000... I gotta say 7. See, again, I'm gonna skip around with the timeline because the only time that anybody really knows, or even I know on my timeline, is who I was engaged to, married to, divorcing, dating, and the whole bit. So I don't know. So I was with Tamara at that time, who was my wife. Anyway, so as it turns out, we put an ad up on Craigslist. I get a call in. Now I didn't know what to charge for this. On Christmas Eve, it's Joe the Doctor. Now Joe the Doctor. Okay, he lives in New Vernon, nice house, whatever. So he's on the other end of the phone, and I'm taking the call, and I don't know what to charge. I mean, I don't want to rip people off, but also, it's Christmas Eve, you got to pay for the time slot. So anyway, so I said, Joe, well, listen, it'll be $175, and listen, you got to tell him right off the bat, I'm only going to be there for a half an hour. Santa's a very busy man. Plus, I'm going to try to squeeze some other gigs in there. This suit is useless on the 26th. Anyway. So he says, $175. He goes, oh, that's great, man, no problem. I said, okay, good. So tomorrow, my ex-wife's going to remain nameless. Sorry, I messed that up. But she was going to be the elf, and that's fine. Help with the gifts, blah, blah, blah. Cheers, everybody. So anyway, as it turns out, we go 9 o'clock we were supposed to go, right? So we get down to the driveway at 9 o'clock. She's driving, she's the elf. I'm Santa from here down. Can't drive in this getup. And what happens is, I text him from outside. I said, Joe, hey, listen, we're ready to go. And he texts me right back, actually calls me right back. I'm in the driveway, by the way. Calls me right back. He says, hey, well, wait, we're not ready for you yet. We haven't eaten dinner yet. And here we go. Okay. Now, I could tell he was a young, probably in his mid-30s at that point, plastic surgeon, right? Italian guy, way over the top, big Italian family. They love the holidays, the whole nine, right? So he comes out, and he comes outside. He goes, I'll come outside in a minute. I says, okay, Joe, no problem. So I take the get up off, and I'm sitting there or whatever. And he says, he goes, yeah, we're still eating. I'll do my best Italian, imitation. He says, we're still eating. If you give me another half an hour, I'll throw in $100, extra 100. Sure, what else the hell else are we doing, you know? So he goes back, he comes in, he says, listen, you guys want anything to eat? Great. You know, hospitality, Italian people, forget about it, right? You see? So he says, he goes back, he says, you want anything to eat? No, I'm good, man, I'm good. He says, well, you know, do you want anything to drink? You want some beer? And I'm like, no, see the gloves, you do the gloves. No. I said, no. He goes, screw it. He goes, hey, my kids aren't going to know the difference. I said, okay, whatever. Walks out 5 minutes later, he's got 2 Heinekens. Opened up, bottle top, the whole bit. Now, he's got the elf and Santa Claus drinking beer in his driveway waiting for the show to start. True story. All of this is true. You can't make it up. So, little ice water for Santa, get a little parched. So anyway, here I am. I'm me and the elf and cheersing and then, hey, whatever, man. Where the hell's we going? I'm with my wife, so what's the big deal? So we get ready to go. We go. Okay, we're ready for you. Blah, 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 blah. Go in, blast the place wide open. Santa, the big chair. I started that, actually, believe it or not. But it was kind of like more of an Arsenio Hall ripoff, too. I mean, some of this is original, but most of it's a fictitious character to start with, for Christ's sake. Anyway, so they're Santa, they're going bananas, right? Whole show goes off without a hitch. I do my jokes with him. I mean, you gotta have a couple of jokes for him because, he's a plastic surgeon. I said, hey, how's business? And he said, is it busting? Great time, all had by all. Anyway, so we leave, and pace is 300 smacks, that's 100 over. Plus whatever. So this is great. So go home with the wife, the elf, blah, blah, blah. We party up in the middle of the night. Anyway, the following year, he wants me to come again. So, I don't know if you know this, but the Italian people love to have the parish priest, for whatever reason, at the house on Christmas Eve. I don't know. Sometimes we did it as Irish people, Father Davis, whatever, whoever it was. So the second year I go, Tamara comes again. She's the elf, right? But I get there, great crowd, great people, right? And they have the parish priest there. Now, this is Father Richard, okay? Father Richard, believe it or not, I'm looking across. I'm sitting in my seat, and I can see everything from up there, by the way. So I'm looking across the way, and I see Father Richard. Now, Father Richard, for Christ's sake, no pun intended, this guy's about 6'4", 250, right? Built like a brick blank house. You know what I mean? I mean, this guy's built. This guy's a football player, for Christ's sake, in his mid-50s. Which I found a little disturbing myself. Not necessarily disturbing. You want to keep yourself in good shape, blah, blah, blah. But the only time that Santa Claus ever worked out was to get females. So I didn't work out to go back into a rectory with a bunch of dudes to live with. So couldn't understand that from get-go. Anyway, so as it turns out, Father Richard is sitting straight across from me. Now I have Tamara here. She's the elf. She's whispering in my ear. They always come in, always with the gloves. You can move everything around. So as it turns out, he is staring at me as if the look that he was darting me from across the room, believe it or not. And I was getting looked at so bad by this priest. I mean, stared at like, you SOB, that sort of jazz. And I could feel it. You could feel that tension in the room, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm going, holy Christ, what the heck? So I point to Tamara, give her the poke. Come here, with the gloves. See the creepy gloves? You do the gloves. Come here. In my ear, and I get her ear and I say, are you seeing what I'm seeing? She goes, yeah. I go, holy shit. No pun intended. So I'm like, hey, this is weird. So I'm going about my show. This is the second time at the doctor's house, so I'm going about the show, and I'm putting on a good show, as usual. That's great, because that goes without saying for the most part. So then it comes down to, I'm watching Father Ray. I'm keeping an eye on this guy, man. He, 13 years of Catholic school, all my family went to. I don't think with the money that we spent, we're going to get treated that way from this guy. Who do you know who I am? But the feeling I got from Father Richard was that he was looking at me as if this isn't what Christmas is about and this guy's a clown. Number one, I took that offensively because I'm here to entertain, all right? We're not here to get on our knees and pray the rosary. You do that at midnight, whatever. So that's the look I was getting from Father Richard, okay? So I kept an eye on him the whole time. I'm doing my shtick and I'm keeping. I look over in where Uncle Richard, Father Richard was. He's got his hat on. He's leaving without saying anything to anybody, okay? He's got the hat on. This guy looked like The Exorcist, if you've ever seen the movie The Exorcist, right? That's what this guy was. That's what he looked, head to toe, the black coat, the whole freaking night. So I said, bullshit on this, So I called it out. I called Joe. I said, hey, Joe. I said, hey, Father Richard's leaving. I said, because there's a rule. There's a rule when I play Santa Claus, and that rule is not to be a perv to, get, cheap throws, whatever. The rule is, in order to get your present, you got to sit on Santa's lap. Bottom line. Come on, it's a rule for everybody. You just can't go handing them out. Come on, whatever. This rule backfired on me this time. Because I told Josh, hey, Father Richard's leaving. And they, Father Richard, you can't leave. We got an envelope for you. Now, the church, the priest, envelope, he hears that. Oh, that coat came off in a hurry. So did the hat, So Father Richard comes out. Now don't forget, 6'4", 250, easy, right? Built like a brick, like a train, this fella. So he sits down. I said, oh, no, Father, I got the envelope. He can't leave without the envelope now. I said, first of all, you're making everybody feel uncomfortable here. Secondly, you're going to have to wait for it now, okay? So he comes up and no, Father Richard, you got to sit down. Father Richard, believe it or not, this guy was so spiteful as a Roman Catholic priest. Now, we're not going to judge him all that way, but just Father Richard, because he was kind of a jerk. Actually, I refer to him as Father Dick. Anyway, so that's just me. Anyway, so he sits down at my left knee. And he is putting all of his weight on my left knee. And to the point where, and I'm asking him questions. We're like two boxers at the press conference, right? And I'm asking him questions like, Father Richard, how was your year? This priest would not answer one question. None, right? Now, meanwhile, he's got all his weight on my left knee on purpose. I mean, this guy, he wanted to hurt me, this fella. So now I got to get him off my knee. I'm like, I'm going to have to give up this fight. I'm going to have to give in, to his stubbornness or whatever. It's because I was losing feeling in my leg. He's stopping the circulation, this guy. So I said, okay, Father Richard, here you go. So, oh my God, he gets up. I finally get the blood rush back to my leg, right? Oh my God, I got to get the hell out of here. So I leave with that. And that was a very disturbing time, Father Richard, because you're not supposed to act like that in a priest. But he turned right around as soon as he heard envelope, money, envelope, Father Richard, about, cops and donuts, priests and booze and money. I mean, it's the same thing, So that's the Father Richard story. Now I'll go on to story 3, a little ice water here. Merry Christmas, everybody, So anyway, as it turns out, well, let me give you another Santa rhyme. Again, these rhymes are not hopeful. These rhymes are just real life rhymes, okay? And this is one I stole from the Forrest Gump, but I made it my own. You ready? Okay, here we go. Life is like a box of chocolates, someone once said. But the guy who said that had 6 voices in his head. Little Santa humor. Hey, keep your mental health this Christmas day, huh? So let's move on. Oh, let's go to Union City. This is I have my little notes here. I can't remember every show, believe it or not. Union City. And actually, let's go to Gladstone first. That was earlier. I think Gladstone, and that's far. That was a far drive. That was a family in Gladstone. They wanted Christmas Eve. They're doing an early Christmas Eve, so they're not really partying too much or whatever the case is, So I go down. I think that was 2007. Same year, right? So I go down to Gladstone, right? I got GC, tomorrow's the off, one more time, whatever. So I go to Gladstone, okay? And again, these people, sometimes they want you to do things that Santa just doesn't do. And you got to try to explain, and my commercial's going on in the back. There's my fake fireplace going out on you. Whatever. So anyway, so they want you to do things that Santa doesn't do. Now, Santa doesn't necessarily, at least this Santa doesn't. I don't read it was the night before Christmas. That's not the type of Santa I am. I mean, my heroes are David Lee Roth, Paul Stanley. I want a show, you know? So this lady convinced me that, hey, listen, can you read 'Twas the Night Before Christmas? I'm like, yeah. I'm saying to myself, oh my God, come on. And that's another rule of booking Santa. Never book it with the wife. Never. And that's not misogynistic, okay? Because the husband just wants to get it booked and done. The wife wants you to talk to the dead dog who's gone 2 years so we all remember him, and the show goes like 2 hours. You can't have that. I'm in and out. End of story. So anyway, let's get back to Gladstone. Now, they want me to read The Night Before Christmas, right? Okay. It's sentimental, it's traditional, blah, 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 blah. The whole night, right? I don't usually do that. So I said, okay, I need the gig, whatever the case is, I'll read it. Tomorrow goes, buys the book. I don't know where she got it. Barnes and Nobles, who knows, So we get in there, and it's quiet. It's like a pin could drop. This is not a party atmosphere whatsoever, Might have been a dry house. I don't know. No idea. There's no energy, the whole bit, right? So I'm sitting there, and I have The Night Before Christmas, and I'm going, I'm not reading this whole thing to myself. I'm going, performers, we make stuff up on the spot. I'm not reading this thing, immediately. I'm not doing it, So I just said, you know what? How about we pass it around the room? Oh, good idea, blah, blah, blah. I turn to my left, I pass the book to read, I have the first lady to my left read it. Right away she yells out, I'm Jewish. You can't win. You can't win. Anyway, show went off without a hitch. I couldn't wait to get out of there. I could not wait to get out of there, believe it or not. Blah, blah, blah. Fast forward a couple of years, I do the same house again. Okay? Christmas Eve, right? So, now, we had switched elves at that point. Again, now I'm dating somebody else. So it's just the way it is. Mrs. Claus is always there. I'm like the mafia. I got, my gamon, or whatever the hell you call it. Whatever it is, whatever. So it turns out that the Gladstone wants to be act. Now I'm going to up the price because I really don't want to do it. But, no. They give me whatever I want. I said, okay, great. So I'm looking in my girlfriend at the time's house. She got a big bell. This thing's huge. It's like a Liberty Bell, for Christ's sake, So I said, all right, man, said to her, I said, I'm just looking around the house, just looking for things, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, hey, can I borrow that bell? She goes, oh, yeah, it's very sheepish about letting me borrow it. It wasn't a family heirloom, nothing, whatever. So turns out that I got the bell, right? And I'm testing it. This thing makes a lot of noise. It'll be a good entrance. This is what I'm thinking, right? So I go down to Gladstone. This is the second show now. I go down, and now she's with me. She's the elf, but she's not dressed up, whatever. Some people do it, some people don't, blah, 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 the whole night. So turns out I go in, big entrance. I want to redeem myself from that, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas disaster. So I go in, I start ringing the bell like a son of a bitch, right? And it rings 3 times, and then there's no sound. What happened was the middle of the bell broke off and went shooting across the room over everybody's head. And I go, oh my God! I almost dropped dead. I turned to her and I said, did that hit anybody? It's almost like from Meet the Parents, when he opened up the champagne bottle and the cork went over and broke the mother's ashes or something. I was like, oh no, man, no way. So anyway, that show started off terribly. I made a good recovery. I got the inside of the bell back, believe it or not. This way, this one wouldn't have a puss on her face the whole time. Oh, you broke my bell. Whatever, So I got the bell back, okay? But that's okay. That could have killed somebody. I could have been sued about 10 times in doing this gig over the years. Anyway, so that's just 3 stories. Now I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back in a little bit with some more stories. But I'll leave you with a little bit of one more of Santa quatrains, let's call them. Quatrains of what to do in life. I'm having a good time. Everybody having a good time out there. Merry Christmas. Christmas Eve. It's upon us. It's upon us. Okay. Now this has to do with all you guys who smoke weed to relax yourselves, which we all do. It's proven it relieves anxiety, etc. The whole nine. The four-line quatrain from Santa. This is advice you could use. Not, hey, be nice to your neighbor. Anybody could say that. Come on, I made stuff up. Ready? If you think your life is a big pile of poo, count to 10, take a breath, and roll up a big doob. Santa will return shortly, folks. It is intermission time.